welcome back to Morning Coffee. Megan back here with another video for you on organization, productivity, goal getting, and personal growth. Today we are talking about your habits and how to hack them. What you can do to add a good habit or what you can do to replace a bad one. If you like videos on this topic, you're probably going to love the other ones that I share on this channel on Wednesdays and Sundays. Please consider subscribing, join our community. I have a goal of getting us to 1,000 subscribers here, and I would love it if you join us. So thank you so much for considering subscribing. Let's get into the tips that I've got on how to hack your habits. I don't know why I did that. I felt kind of like a ninja, like hack, you know? Want to be a habit ninja with me? Keep watching. As you've been home more over the last couple of months due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you've probably done a lot of thinking about your life, what's happening in it, and maybe where you want your life to go. And maybe all that thinking has got you thinking, I'd like to make some changes. Maybe your break from work has taught you that, hey, I really like to look for a new job, or maybe having the extra time to work on your garden or take a walk every day is something that you'd like to continue in your life. Maybe that has inspired you to make a permanent change to your routine. When it comes to actually making change happen in your life, it's a lot easier said than done, and we all know that, right? What it comes down to is having the discipline to take the daily actions that need to be taken to make that change a reality. And basically, that's habits. That's what your habits are. They're things that you do repeatedly every day, mostly without even thinking about them, or they become so routine that you don't even have to think about them. And man, changing routines is hard. I don't know about you, I'm a very routine person. I absolutely love structure and routine and repeatable process and doing the same things the same way all the time. And so that's great when the habit that I have is a really good one, but then it's also very bad when I have a habit that's a bad one. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this. So today we're going to talk about how you can hack a good habit by adding a new one to something you already do, or how to replace a bad one with something better. Let's get into it. Let's focus on adding a good habit first. So let's say you want to add something new to your routine. Let me use an example that has happened to me in my life recently. I have been trying to take more vitamins. I personally suffer from migraines, so that's a health challenge that I'm trying to help myself with. So I did some research, and there's some vitamins that I can take on a daily basis that are proven to have helped other people with migraines. And I figure, heck, if just by taking a couple of pills, I can give myself a better chance of not being debilitated by a migraine, I'm gonna do it. So again, I had to figure out how to add this into my routine. I actually tried to add these vitamins to my daily routine maybe a year ago or so, but it didn't pan out for me because I would always forget to take them. I take my other regular medications once a day at the end of the night when I get out of the shower and brush my teeth. And these particular vitamins need to be taken twice a day. So I had to kind of add them somewhere else, and I really struggled with it. So here's how I've made it more successful for me this time. What I've chosen to do is habit stack them. A while ago, I talked about this on my Instagram stories when I was cleaning my shower. I was talking about every time that I clean my shower, I've stacked a couple of other habits on top of it, random things that also need to get done in the bathroom, but just not like daily or weekly. So every time I clean my shower, I wash my floor mats and I take our little toothbrush cup and run it through the dishwasher. That's an example of habit stacking. Adding the new habit that you have to one that you already do and one that already exists. So this time when I've tried to add my vitamins, I stack them on top of something I already do. Since I have to take these vitamins twice a day, I've stacked them on top of my reading habit. So every morning I start my day by reading one page in The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. It's one page, 2 or 3 paragraphs a little, life lesson to read first thing in the morning. So I actually put my book on my desk and I put the vitamin bottles on top of it so that I know when I come to sit down at my desk and I go to grab that book, I see the vitamins sitting on top of it. I take my vitamins, I read my book, and I go on. The same thing happens at night. So every night I read for about 10 minutes in whatever book I'm reading. So when I sit down at the end of the night to read my book, that is my cue to take my second set of vitamins. I've taken something new that I want and added it on top of something I already do well and already do consistently. So that is a great way to add a new habit in your life, to stack it with something you already do. Make it simple. The next tip I'd like to offer for adding a new habit in your life is to actually track it. I talked about this in my video from Wednesday where I was talking about how to give yourself credit for the work that you're doing, like the proverbial giving yourself a gold star for doing something you said you were going to. Maybe using a habit tracker is the right way for you to incorporate something new into your life. I will link a habit tracker printable below. It's free. It's from Day Designer. You have to give them your email address, but other than that, it's completely free. You can also look up habit trackers on Google and you're going to come up with a million free ones. But essentially, it's just a list of all of the days in the month, and you write down the habits that you're trying to work on, say, cooking at home. And every day that you cook at home, you make an X in that box on that day saying, hey, I did this. I did my habit. Heck yes. For me, I am someone that loves to give myself credit for the things that I'm doing. Like nothing feels better than like checking a box. So if that's something that you also relate to, you might want to consider getting a habit tracker to help you add a new good habit to your routine. If you want to add a new habit to your routine, make it as easy as humanly possible, right? Your life is hard enough. Don't make it harder. Make your new habit convenient and easy to accomplish. So for example, if you're trying to cook at home more, don't make it hard for yourself to cook more. Look into things like meal delivery services, grocery pickup, recipe plans or recipe blogs. Set aside time in your week to meal prep and meal plan for the next week. Take the time to spend the effort on planning ahead to make sure that it happens. So when it's 5 p.m. and you have to make dinner, you already know what you're making, you've got all the supplies on hand, and there's nothing standing in your way. There's no barriers to you actually getting that thing done because you've made it as easy as possible. I know some people, when they're trying to add like a fitness habit to their lives, they'll set out their work clothes. They'll set out their workout clothes. So they'll lay their tennis shoes out on the bench in their bedroom with their workout outfit so that it's there, it's sitting in there, and it's ready to go. I actually know someone who sleeps in their workout clothes because then they wake up in the morning, they're already in their workout gear, they throw on their tennis shoes, and then they're ready to go. Maybe you can set out your weights the night before. Maybe you can have the fitness DVD that you're going to work on already ready to go. Whatever you can do to make it easy for you to do the thing will increase your likelihood of actually doing the thing. Lastly, if you want to add a new good habit to your life, acknowledge that things are going to come up. As much as you might plan ahead, there's always going to be roadblocks that just kind of happen in your life because life happens. So for example, I love to walk in the evenings, take a walk around my neighborhood. It's about 2 miles. I enjoy it and it's good exercise. So if I wanted to start tracking that habit, I have to acknowledge that there are obstacles that are likely to happen or could potentially happen that would get in my way of doing this thing. It could rain. I could be working late. I could get distracted and only have so much time, and then it's dark and then I can't go, and all the things. So you have to have a backup plan for yourself, right? So when you're trying to implement this new habit, think about what could potentially get in your way and what you would do in that case. So for me, it's like, okay, if I don't get out for my walk because of weather or scheduling or time or whatever, then I will do a fitness dance video on Pop Sugar Fitness channel on YouTube. So having a backup plan, it kind of prepares you ahead of time so that you don't get to use an unexpected circumstance as an excuse to not get it done. We will look for any excuse we can to not try something new or do something new. So do your best to come up with a backup plan in advance so you make it easy for yourself to stick to that habit that you want to add to your life. All right, now let's talk about how to replace a bad habit. So I don't know which is harder, trying to add a new one or trying to get rid of a bad one. I might say trying to get rid of a bad one just because I feel like that takes even more intentionality. They're both hard, but I think trying to replace something that is just an instinct to you is super hard because it takes a lot of mindfulness. So for example, we'll take me, for example. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to have a real moment with you, okay? In quarantine, we've been eating a lot of dessert. I have a sweet tooth. Like, just in general, under normal circumstances, I have a sweet tooth. All this extra time, I've been baking a lot, and I don't know. We've just now gotten into a habit that every night after dinner, we have some sort of treat. And while that's great for, one night, 2 nights, every night, well, that's a lot. That's not helping anybody. All the walks around the neighborhood aren't going to help me if I keep up with that habit. So I need to replace it with something else. So here's a couple of things I'm trying. So the first would be just to replace it with something else, right? So for example, when it comes to my sweet tooth, what I've been trying to do is instead of having a dessert is to just have one dark chocolate square. It gives me it satisfies my sweet tooth, gives me something, but it's not a cookie or ice cream, right? It's a little bit better. You could also try something incremental. So if, for example, you've noticed that you spend 4 hours every night watching TV and you're like, there's so many better things I could do with my time. I really want to cut down on that. Maybe you set a goal for the first week that you're only going to watch 3 hours. And then the next night it's only 2. Maybe your goal is eventually to get to 1. And so you wean yourself down. You start from here and you get yourself down to here. Cold turkey might work for some people. If that's you, rock on. But sometimes taking an incremental approach to replacing your habit is a great way to do it. The other suggestion I might have on how to replace a quote-unquote bad habit is to pair it with something else that is a good habit. So for example, when I just talked about watching too much TV, because what you're really saying there is, I could be spending my time better instead of just watching TV. So maybe you spend your time watching TV while you fold your laundry, or while you clean your kitchen, or while you're on the treadmill. That is a great way to give yourself a little bit of both, right? Like you still get the entertainment happening, but you're also being productive. You're not being completely unproductive when you pair something as a bad habit with a good one. The last thing I'll say about replacing a bad habit is that you might need to dig a little bit deeper, right? I feel like we all struggle with finding the internal motivation to make a change. And I think that's something that you really might have to dig into a little bit more. And what I mean by that is maybe take some intentional time to journal about it. You don't have to make this something fancy or big or super complicated. Literally take out a notebook and just spend however long it takes you talking about the bad habit and why you want to replace it. Like, what is it that is going to make an effect in your life that is motivating you to make this change? There's something about writing things down, right? Like if you think about something and you have in your brain, like, you know why you're doing it. I still think that there's power to writing something down. I've said this before, but you're 40% 42% more likely to make something happen that you write down. So if you find yourself really struggling with how to replace a bad habit, maybe take some intentional personal time to get out a notebook and write down why you want to change it, how you're going to change it, what obstacles are going to come in your way, and how you're going to combat those. I think that there is power in spending some time with your thoughts. The world in which we live in is very loud, right? Your responsibilities scream really loudly, social media screams really loudly to you. The noise of our everyday lives is pretty deafening. And I think it's hard to know what your own voice wants, right? Like, it's hard to hear your own voice sometimes. And so journaling is something that really helps me. And again, this isn't like something you have to do every day. It can just be something you do once. But if you're really struggling with how to replace a bad habit in your life, write it down. Talk it through with yourself. It might help you find the motivation you need to get it done. Thank you so much for watching this video. Those are my tips on how to hack your good and bad habits. I hope you found this helpful. Why don't you comment below on a habit that you've recently added or replaced so that we can help encourage each other to make our lives better by making our habits better. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back with another video on Wednesday and Sunday. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching.